Hi guys, hi Sean. Liz, go introduce yourself while I kind of figure out Twitch.
Okay. So I'm Liz from Ambrose Cosplay. And this is my casual Spider Gwen look / I want to speak to your manager look.
I don't know. Can you hear us?
Maybe.
I don't think she. Okay.
Okay. Sam's gone. All right.
Ah, she disappeared. All right. Hi guys. My name is Jessica. I am Jinx Cosplay. Thank you, Anthony, for liking my Moana costume. I've been cosplaying since 2001, and I also do like kids parties as Moanas. You can see, so I do a lot of Moana. Sorry if I look like a half-assed Moana, because like I'm still unpacking. Wait, as you can see. So yeah, there's that. We are actually finally live on Twitch. Don't ask me why I wasn't working, because it's a really stupid reason. So if you guys want to check it out on Twitch, we are twitch.tv/CosTalk live. So if you don't follow us on there, follow us please, so we can get affiliate and kind of build up that channel. So yeah. And Sam, this is episode 8.
I'm Sam. I'm episode 8. Yeah.
Okay. So today it's just the 3 of us. We are going to talk about wig styling, which is funny because Sam, you're not wearing a wig. I was like, gotta make sure I'm wearing a wig. Oh, she's frozen again. Sam!
Oh no. Oh, Sam.
Wi-Fi. So while Sam kind of figures out her thing, so Steve says we can see her, we can hear her, but not see her. Oh, that's interesting. She's frozen right now. So hopefully she comes back to us.
She's frozen, but I can't really hear her if she's making noise.
I think she was talking, but it was really laggy. So yeah. I think she was moving her mouth and said, hi. So I don't know. So anyway, Welcome guys to CosTalk Live episode 8. That means we've been doing this for 8 weeks. I don't know if I believe that.
Almost double digits.
Oh my God. Like that's like 2 months that we've been doing this.
Crazy. And
we've already had several guests on the show. And yeah, thank you so much if you guys are returning. I guess Sam's going to be right back. Thank you so much if you're returning. And if you are new, welcome. So we obviously started this during the whole lockdown thing with nothing better to do with our time as cosplayers. So yeah, we are here to talk about wig styling. So just to start, like, Liz, how many wigs do you have? I mean, I see like 5 behind you.
See, that number is definitely in the double digits.
Oh, yeah.
I actually don't even want to go into how high that number goes.
Oh my gosh.
Because I love wigs. And I think one of the things that's great about wigs is the convenience of it. Whereas you can style a wig and wear it multiple times in that same style, versus if you can use your own hair, awesome. But if you have a character that it would be impossible to use your own hair, or you just want to use a wig so that you don't have to keep your hair that same, color or cut or whatever for just that character, wigs are a really great way to go. There's a huge variety of wig styles and colors now, which I know, Jessica, since you were here at the beginning of time of cosplay, you know that wasn't always the case.
I'm a cosplay dinosaur, guys. So just a little history on wigs in the cosplay world. There really was none. I mean, the wigs that you see at like, Halloween stores and party stores, that was basically what we had. I mean, there were like costume wigs that were a step up from Halloween wigs. So there was basically like 3 styles. So there was one called the China doll, which was like this short. There was, I can't remember what the mid-length one was called. And then there was a long one called the Godiva. And that was it, really. Like you had like your Marilyn Monroe and you had like your, Raggedy Ann styles and stuff like that. But as far as, something to match your anime character, that was it. And the colors were pretty limited as well. I'd say probably like maybe 10 colors. Bangs, no bangs, like you would have to just get what they usually didn't have bangs. So you just had to cut things into it, style it. Oh, wow. I actually need to dig up this picture from a long time ago. But until then, so yeah, I can't even tell you where I got wigs. I think I bought them at the costume store. There was like a costume store in town. I don't think I bought them online. I don't think that was very like a big thing back then. But I remember when my sister and I did Kay and Yuri from the Dirty Pair Flash, I was Yuri and she was Kay. So I had to buy this curly wig. So it was a long purple curly wig that I actually had to straighten. So that was weird because, you know, those fibers are crap. And then my sister's wig, you know, a lot of times nowadays you could take 2 wigs and put them together, or, you know, sew in wefts. And we literally took a white wig and then painted half of it orange with Sharpies. Like that was like the extent of our wig styling and modifying back then. So, obviously there are people that are better than me, but yeah.
I mean, wigs have just come a long way. Like, there are tons of different retailers that have really high quality wigs now in every color imaginable and every style like you could ever want. So like a lot of times there are wigs, you can even get wigs that are pre-styled and they're not even commissioned. Like some of these retailers will have like, for example, Disney princess wigs, and it's already in the style of Belle's hair.
Yeah,
so there's just so many options now. Wigs for cosplay have come a long way from the beginning of cosplay.
Yes, and wigs were always like, when I started cosplaying, they were so intimidating. I always tried to do cosplays that didn't require wigs, and you know, it just was like such an untapped territory in cosplay. So when I started getting into wigs, I was like, oh yeah, this is so much easier. So instead of trying to like limit myself to characters that I could wear my regular hair with, or like I did Lum from Urusei Yatsura, like not the original one, but it was like an art style one, but I didn't wear a green wig. So I was just like in a, you know, tiger skin bikini with like long black hair and horns. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I was like, this works, whatever. So
I think it's great.
Yeah.
So I think today what we were going to talk about is if you are looking to get into wigs and you're feeling kind of intimidated, some of the tools that you might want to get in order to start out with wig styling. It's actually not, you know, like all things, practice is what's going to make perfect. And it's not as bad as it seems. Although there was a piece of advice that I don't remember who said it, but it kind of clicked with me that when you first get into styling wigs, you have to not really think of it as hair, because most of these wigs that you would get for cosplay are not human hair. Human hair is super expensive. It's made out of plastic fibers. So you have to think of it almost like you're molding plastic, not like you're actually styling hair, because you're not really styling hair, and it's not going to react like human hair would to certain styling techniques. So I have a bunch of tools here on my desk. I don't know if you guys have some tools.
I have some tools too.
You want to share too? But some of the tools that you might want to look into if you really want to get into wig styling.
Whoops. Nice. Well, first of all, what's that?
Who wants to go first?
Do you have like a canvas head? Because I don't have that handy. Okay, so let's start with the canvas head.
When you order your wig, you do want to have a head to style it on. So
not your own head.
No,
not a human head.
Although you can style it on someone else's head.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously that's not very convenient. So craft stores have these like female styrofoam heads. You've probably seen them. I think like even Walmart has these.
Yes, they do.
I really like to use these for storing wigs. But not styling. These are actually too small for most heads, unless you have a tiny, tiny head. These little female heads are too small. Now, you can get the male styrofoam head, and that'll work just fine. But on Amazon and other places, too, they have these canvas wig heads that come in different sizes. So, like, for example, this one's a 24-inch one. Oh, hello.
Oh, wow. Mine's a 22, I think. It's there. There.
Actually, this one's too big for me. I think I got this for a wig I was styling for Sean.
Okay.
He has a bigger head. But mine, I think the one that I use is a 21-inch. But you can get them in any size. You would just measure like around your head. And these are like nice and heavy duty wig heads. So I would highly recommend getting a canvas head. They'll definitely last longer than the styrofoam ones. Like the styrofoam ones, because you're going to be pinning your wig to it. And the styrofoam ones, you're going to end up with holes in it. If you like dye your wig, you're going to like dye the styrofoam.
Yeah.
Like the styrofoam melts under certain hairsprays. So like canvas head is definitely the way to go. You can upgrade for sure to one if you're not ready to commit right away to a canvas head.
Yeah, and if you're gonna, like, if you can't order a canvas head, you can always like wrap stuff around the styrofoam head to like fatten it out. But if you're gonna style it directly to that size, when you put your wig on, it's gonna be a mess. Right. So that's the number one thing is, I mean, we know not everyone can get the resources they need, but styrofoam wig head, $5, $6 at your local craft store, and just kind of, I don't know, wrap some padding around it or something, or make sure it's the same. It might even fit you. So just measure your head and just make it match. Yeah. Pins too.
Once you have your head or a wig head to style your wig on, you're going to want some kind of stand. They make clamps that you can clamp right onto a table edge that will fit the wig head on it. But you can also get a nicer wig stand too that does all sorts of things where, you know, you can telescope it up, down, so you can style it while you're sitting down or standing, whatever you want. It can go higher for really long wigs. Typically it has a ball socket at the top, so you can actually tilt your wig to whatever position you need it in. So you can go really inexpensive with the table side clamps, and that's totally fine, or you can get a really nice wig stand. But if you just set the wig head on a flat surface and like expect it to stay, like I guarantee you it is not gonna stay. As soon as you start brushing the wig, it's gonna tip over.
Yeah, and I obviously ideally like the one Sam has in the back there, the tripod-y type. You can even kind of sometimes get like camera tripods. Sometimes they work if you can find them in the right. I don't know. I go to Goodwill and I always check the tripods just in case. And I have found something. It's like a light stand. It's not as sturdy as an actual wig stand, but it works. So that was a nice upgrade from the wig clamp on the table. Because the only thing with the clamp on the table is that it really limits you. Obviously, because you need, if it's a long wig, is that a camera stand? Yeah, nice. So I mean, the clamp is so cheap. They're like $5 online, or like a couple bucks on Wish, but they limit you because you have, if your wig's long, you have to have, you know, the long side down. So trying to style the front of it is going to be a little bit tricky unless you have like, I don't know, a small table or something.
Well, and my first wig stand was actually made out of PVC pipes. My dad made it for me.
Nice.
So you can even make your own really cheap. So that's another option for you. Yeah,
absolutely. Or you can always have a friend. I've seen people like do like a broomstick with like I don't know how they got like a traffic cone. I've seen a lot of crazy things. Yeah, and it can work, but yeah, you definitely need something to keep it stabilized because otherwise you're not going to get anything done. You're just going to be so frustrated with styling that wig.
The tripod wig stands are definitely worth it. They're very stable, and just like the way that you're able to move the wig head to style it. If you're going to seriously get into styling, the tripod wig stand is the way to go.
Yeah, because it's pretty, you can like swivel it around, and it's just really nice to be able to work in that kind of 360-degree space. So definitely get a clamp or a stand or something. So wig head and clamp, those are like necessities because you really can't style a wig without those.
Oh, yeah. So like,
unless it's on your head.
Even if you get like a wig that you're planning to wear straight out of the bag, you're probably going to have to brush through that wig at some point, and they actually do make special wig brushes. So I have one right here. You're just looking for a brush that has like the wide bristles. Mine has hair all over it, wig hair.
Yeah.
For a brush that has really wide bristles. These bristles on mine are kind of wavy. Like this is specifically a wig brush, and what
I have this one too.
What it's built for is to prevent your wig from getting all staticky, because if you recall, the fibers are all made out of plastic, so it's really easy for them to get staticky, especially if you use just a regular brush meant for human hair.
They're also less, like, how do you say it? Like the bristles give, so that it doesn't pull the hair out too much. Obviously, we'll talk about brushing wigs later, because it's not like brushing human hair, but that's also another difference. These is they really, you know, they have a give. But I actually love this brush, and it's black because I used it on a wig that I Sharpied, but this is a wet brush pro, and I actually love this for wigs. It is amazing. Like the bristles are really soft, and it's perfect. It's like really gentle because obviously you use it when your human hair is wet. So this one I actually use a lot. So this is my favorite one.
Yeah, if you use a regular human hairbrush or like a narrow tooth comb, you run the risk of warping the fibers of the wig. So like if you keep yanking down and you're brushing the wig, those fibers are gonna stretch and stretch. You're gonna end up with some parts of the wig that are like longer than others, and they're kind of like kinky and weird. So you're definitely gonna want like a wide tooth comb. Or like a wet brush or like a specific wig brush. And any place that sells wigs will also sell a wig brush or a wig comb.
Absolutely. So. Like, yeah, even like those boar bristle brushes and everything, they don't work. Just get a wig comb. They're not very expensive. And I do have a teasing comb, but this is for something different. So we'll talk about that when we talk about like heat styling. So this is definitely for something different, but this is also useful to have in your toolbox.
I have a couple teasing combs too. This one's actually a teasing comb, and I like that it has
the
this
pick.
little pick at the end. That's nice. And then this one's a teasing brush. If you do like any characters with big hair, you're definitely gonna want some kind of teasing brush. And I like that it has like the narrow end too, so you can pull the fibers out and separate it from the rest.
For sure. And like when we talk about wearing a wig out of the bag, you're probably not going to be able to wear it without a little bit of styling, because it's probably been stored, again, like none like human hair, it's probably been stored in that bag for God knows how long. And, you know, what am I trying to say? Artificial materials like that, you know, they remember folds and stuff. So that's another thing that you're going to have to keep an eye on. Now, we didn't talk about...
Want to like brush through it when you take it out of the bag.
At least
like,
brush it.
Take it out gently and like brush through it at the very least.
Yes. And also, if you, in addition to the wig head, don't forget you need pins. So regular dress pins are fine. These are corsage pins that I use. So they're quite long. And then they do have, you know, millinery pins for making hats. Floral pins are really good. So the longer the pin is going to be better for your bigger styles, you know, once you get a little more advanced. But these are just pretty sturdy. I always, whenever you style your wig, always pin it to your wig head, because then when you brush it, it'll be like, whoo, it'll go flying.
Right.
Like, oh,
I usually pin, like when I pin my wigs to the wig head, I usually put it on and then do a pin, one at each temple, and then one kind of right here. Sometimes I do one kind of in the center, like right at the crown, and then one in the back by the nape of the neck, just to keep it on the wig head. Yeah, it will go flying if you don't.
And then also so it doesn't like move. So all of a sudden you thought you were styling it centered, and now it's not. Hey, Ashley, she says, Liz, before I realized that's a wig, you almost gave me a heart attack.
Ashley,
oh my God.
I have been waiting for you to do my hair. I had to take matters into my own hands.
It was the quarantine that did it.
It's my quarantine cut, girl.
Oh my God, quarantine cut. When are you opening back up? I need a haircut. Where's your manager?
Ashley, I need you to
look at this. So welcome. Thanks for joining in, Ashley. So I don't know where Sam's been. Is she coming back? Well, maybe she's putting a wig on. So let's talk a little bit about styling. So when you get your wig out of the bag, you know, a little bit of a brushing out will always be good. But sometimes you're going to want to either curl it or straighten it. First, you got to check what your fibers are. Most wigs, artificial wigs, are heat. What do you call it? What's the word? Heat resistant. So most of them are. Usually if they're the super, super cheap ones, they're not. But in general, they are pretty heat resistant. And
you can use heat on them to an extent. Remember, it is plastic. A lot of the big cosplay wig manufacturers will tell you exactly what temperature you can go up to. If you get a wig off of Amazon, it depends. They might tell you in the description, or like maybe someone will.
You just have to test it.
The question, but like definitely start lower because you will damage the fibers if you use too much heat or too high of a temperature.
Right. Well, and in general, you're going to be damaging the fibers regardless, because when you use heat, you're basically melting plastic. So that's just another thing to keep in mind too. It doesn't mean don't do it. You know, it's just something you need to keep in mind if you're going to continually restyle. And I'm going to talk about this wig because I've done it a couple times. But if you're going to continually restyle a wig, eventually you're going to have to replace it because those fibers will have been melted down. Not when I say melt, I don't mean like it's all charred and stuff, but yeah. So.
It kind of, they do have a bit of a lifespan, wigs. So you can refresh a wig several times after restyles and kind of bring it back to its original former shiny, beautiful glory. But I think the most I've ever refreshed a wig between restylings was 5 times. And then I was like, no, it's dead, Jim. It's gone. Where the fibers, you'll kind of see it. The fibers start to get really frizzy and like bent and just, it doesn't look good. Yeah.
To the point where you're just like, I got to cut this part off.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So when we talk about either straightening or let's talk about straightening wigs first, because that's the easier thing. Well, kind of. You can use a regular flat iron, which is usually the most common way to straighten wigs. Again, test it. Always test it. Even when you get your instructions on how to straighten it, do a piece on the underside and just be safe and be prepared for what might happen. It's always best to get the ones with temperature control. Those are the ones you want to work with when dealing with wigs, and work in very small sections. It's not like your regular hair where, you can just go really hot because it'll go through all that, all the hair, but don't do that with wigs because, again, we're working with plastic.
I would say no more than a 2-inch section at a time. You'll see it yourself, like that. You're like, oh, that didn't straighten all of it if you use too big of a section at a time.
Yeah, and it also depends on how curly. Like if it's just a wave, you might get away with it. But if it's a really curly,
like you could even use like a blow dryer if it's just wavy.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I get where this comes in. So when I try to straighten stuff, I actually use this to kind of pull down the fibers to straighten it out. I actually use a steamer, so that's kind of another thing that you could do too. So when you talk about, oh, me too, it's right here.
I honestly, if you're gonna get into wig styling, straightening, curling, whatever, I would highly recommend getting a hand steamer. Because your hand steamer will do it all. There's a lot of different methods to curling wigs, and some people will put it in boiling water. I feel like that's a little too out of control for me.
Yeah, that makes me nervous. They pour the boiling water over it.
Some people pour it, and then some people dip it in the pot, and I can't deal. So a hand steamer is your best friend. It will do what you want. It'll curl your wig, but you have a little more control over what's going on.
Absolutely. And it's pretty fast too. It's so what I usually do if I'm straightening, hair is I'll comb it through, and then as it's, straight, then I'll take the steamer and hit it with steam. And that actually gives pretty fast results. So if you're ready to move up from a flat iron, get the handheld steamer. The only negative about handheld steamers is that the steam runs out really fast, obviously, because it's a small reservoir. So I eventually want to
refill it a lot.
Yeah, so just always have something handy that you can just refill, and also depending on how much you're going to be styling as well.
I actually have a tutorial up on my Instructables too on how to use your hand steamer to refresh your wig between stylings.
Nice.
So if you're interested, if you have a wig that you think can't be saved, try using the hand steamer.
Yes, definitely. And lots of patience too. I've seen a lot of in the princess communities, people do a lot of Rapunzel wigs restyling, and that can take hours. I'm talking about 12 hours to do that. So depending on your project, you may end up doing it for several hours. So just remember that any restyle is going to need some patience. Right. And then when we talk about curling wigs, now there's, many ways of curling wigs. Again, you can use your curling iron, which I don't know. I don't like using a curling, even on my regular hair. It just takes so long. Yeah, it just takes so long. And then if it doesn't curl, you got to redo it again and redo it again. But again, the same way you would use the flat iron, you can use the curling iron as well.
So the way that heat, oh, there's my tutorial.
There it is.
So yeah, this is on my Instructables Ambrose Cosplay. So the wig on the left-hand side was a complete total mess. I had dyed it and then set it out in the sun to dry, and it was just a frizzy mess. And then I turned it into the wig on the right using the hand steamer. So I have a tutorial on that. If you're like, oh my gosh, my wig looks like the one on the left, you can turn it into the one on the right. So something to keep in mind when you're curling a wig is the wig is going to retain its curl as it cools down. So I feel like you can't just add the heat and then be like, yay, we're done. You have to let it cool down, and that's how the fibers kind of know that curl that you want. So
I don't have any
to get that curl, but you do have to, whatever you do to apply heat, you have to let it cool down in the shape you want in order to get the curl. So you can use a lot of different kinds of curlers. I just have a sponge curler right here.
Those are great.
This is a tiny sponge curler. They come bigger if you want just waves or ringlets. You can get the 3/4 inch ones, but I just picked this one. It's tiny.
What Sam got there?
Oh,
a bobby pin.
Yeah, because what I do is I twist the hair up really, really tight, and then I roll it into a pinwheel, and I let it dry as that pinwheel. When I take it apart, it's really nice ringlets.
Yeah,
A
it's
lot
the
of
same, kind of
people
same with
like to do
human
that
hair.
method.
Yeah.
Like,
and I
so
have tons of these guys, alligator
So
clips.
I know what I like to do with mine is I like to take the little attachment off because I find it leaves a crease like right at the top of the curl. I don't really like that. So I just have it loose like this because remember, this isn't on my head, it's on a wig head. So what I'll do is I'll, wrap up the curl, blah, 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 take it to the scalp. Take some sewing pins and pin it in place on like directly into the sponge. And then I usually use the hand steamer on the curls for the heat part once they're all curled up. And additionally, I usually put like a big giant Joann's bag over the entire wig head once it's been steamed to kind of keep it in that little steamy environment. And then I let it cool off for about 24 hours before taking those rollers back out.
Yeah. Like I found some rollers at like Goodwill. I know it sounds weird, but I was using it for wigs anyway. And then I use alligator clips, but the same thing, like sometimes like, so when you've got that curl and it like hangs off the clip, you're going to get a dent. So I do the same thing. I take pins and I kind of like pin them up to like avoid that crease. And I think the key here is to leave it for 24 hours. Don't get impatient and take it out and be like, oh, why doesn't it work? Because it didn't set. So basically do it, like curl it, set it and forget it, and then go do something else.
I actually don't even take out the rollers until the wig is dry because if you use like for example,
that's what I do too.
Steamer, it's gonna get all wet. I don't take them out until the wig is completely dry because then if it's dry, it's cool. Yeah,
that's what I do too. I just leave it in the curlers, I don't do the bag thing, but I'm gonna try that now. That sounds really good. And then just don't touch it. Like when I was teaching someone once how to do it, they just kept taking it out like after an hour. I'm like, no, just wait.
So remember, that's the important thing is the wig is going to retain its shape as it cools down, not when you first apply the heat. The heat is just to get it to bend the way you want. Kind of like those of you who do foam armor. I say this as if I know anything about foam armor, but like you heat up the foam and then you shape it and you kind of hold it in that shape, right?
Until it cools. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah. See, exactly. Sam, I learned from you already.
Yeah. And then a trick that I like to do, because I've done 2 wigs where I did tons and tons of curls, like like the Muse wig. Oh my God, that was so much hair. So I like to take different sizes and do different so that they don't all curl into the same curl. It kind of gives it a little more volume. And this is the same trick I use for my own hair, but different sizes and then curling different ways. So if you've got a lot of hair and you want it to look even bigger, that's a really good way to build volume. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I love styling wigs now.
So that's curling wigs. Is there anything else you guys had about curling wigs?
Well, actually about my wig. So as you can see, I am Moana. When I bought this wig, it was really beautiful, had a really nice wave. And of course, I brush it after almost everywhere. Not everywhere I should do it, but after brushing it, obviously pulling the fibers eventually like straightens out the waves. So what I end up doing is I'll wash it, and we'll talk about washing, next. And then I put them into tiny braids. So they're about 1-inch thick braids. All over, and I do the same process with the steam. So it goes on the wig head, I braid it. It's really cathartic braiding. And then I hit it with steam and then leave it alone. And I've done this about 3 times to this wig. So as you can see, it's not in its best shape. It's actually it probably needs another restyle. It's time for another restyle. But yeah, the fibers are not as soft as it was when I first got it. This is a 3-year-old wig. I got it in 2017. So it's gone pretty long, it's lasted a long time, but it's on its last leg, I would say. So that's another way you can do if you don't want like the ringlet curls and you want more of a wave. Obviously, if you wanted a bigger wave, you would just do bigger braids. And then braids can be tricky. If the thicker the braid, obviously the more steam you're probably going to need to get into the middle of that. So try to avoid thicker braids if you can, but obviously if you want that wave, that's the way. That's one way you can go.
Especially if you are looking into doing like Disney princess style wigs. The Disney princesses have completely unrealistic hair goals.
Oh yeah.
So something that I found kind of helpful in getting like those big, huge like waves, whether you're Belle and you have the 2 big ones, or you're like Rapunzel, you have the 1 big one, or oh my gosh, like if you're Jasmine,
Ariel,
or Ariel, oh my gosh,
yeah,
the hair swoop,
yeah, right.
Something that I would recommend is obviously there's going to be a lot of Disney princess wig tutorials, but watch drag queen wig tutorials because they get that hair huge. especially the bangs. Like, you'll learn a lot from those tutorials if you're going for characters with big, huge hair like that.
Oh, so now we can talk about like volume, moving into volume. I'm going to see if I can find my aerial. So I even have like a before after of my styling. You don't? Oh, wait, there it is.
No. There it is.
So
Oh my God.
on the left, wait, on the left? Yeah.
Oh, you're so
on
cute.
Oh, thank you. So on the left is, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. This was a $15 wig from AliExpress, by the way. So the left, I didn't know what I was doing. I just like, okay, this looks right. And I wasn't even styling it on a wig head. I was on one of those, like, those plastic ones that like fold.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Oh God, It was awful. I was like, I never want to do it ever again. And then on the right is when I actually learned how to style wigs. I recurled it. So those are fresh curls. And then what I did was I ended up teasing the heck out of the top of that wig. And this is the first time I'd done it. So it's not as smooth as it could be. But, you take a section, tease the heck out of it. Like, it's got to look really ugly. Like, the worse it gets, the better. And then you kind of do the shape. And even this wig was so cheap that like fibers were coming out. So I saved the fibers and I stuffed it in there for more volume. And then you would smooth out the outer part. And then, cover it in got to be spray and then pin it where it needs to go. And that's kind of how you do. Yeah. Got to be spray. Everyone should have a can of got to be. Everyone. If you want to style wigs, it's like the one thing you need. Got to be. Yeah. So, and that actually stayed really well. I was kind of nervous that it was going to fall, but I mean, the one on the left was not great, but the one on the right is the one that stayed really, really well. So, and that was a cheap wig. I wore that one several times before I was like, it's done. So that was pretty shocking how long that one lasted. Do you have a picture of your Megara wig?
Oh, not handy. I mean, like, I have it in the room.
Oh, do you?
I could grab it, yeah. So Jessica also did the bangs on my Megara wig, and
she had it already styled, and I just fixed it. Okay, yeah. So when she had her Megara wig, it was an Arta, right? You had it curled and already, which was great because sometimes if you do need,
it's an Arta wig base. So here I'm trying to show like the profile. Here it is.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I did this kind of the same thing I did with the aerial wig, was kind of like just take a big chunk and like tease it. And having it curled definitely helps. Just like normal hair, that's going to help with the volume in general. But yeah, that thing got really ugly before it like looked like it was supposed to look like. But that's how you kind of get with the really big hair. There you go.
I was like, a pin came out. It's on the floor somewhere. So yeah, those bangs are huge.
Yeah, I was like, is this too big? They're like, no, it's perfect. Like, okay.
It's perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, so it was already half styled. I can't take all the credit for that. You already half styled it, so. But
those bangs
yeah, and that's and that's like a lot of Disney. Like, I don't know why Disney. Why do all your girls have such big honking hair?
Yeah, another unrealistic expectation for women. Ridiculous.
Yeah, except for Moana's hair. I love Moana's hair. It's like natural beachy hair.
Moana's hair is the perfect hair.
Yeah, although I hate when okay, so I not bashing, but wig stylers I love. Like, they're amazing. People that style princess wigs, oh my god, like, you guys are gods. But Moana wigs, come on. I bought this off of Amazon for $45. I don't want to see these people saying this is a Moana wig for $200. No.
Well, the Moana style was already like a really popular style for people who wore, wigs and weaves before Moana ever came out. So like that was already a popular style. So yeah, I agree. It's sort of like, well,
I mean,
$200.
Oh God, I have seen people like, oh, I want to change from this wig. I'm like, go to Amazon. The only reason I would say if you wanted a styled wig is if you went with the Parks Moana, because she doesn't have the wave. She has like curls. She has like pageant girl curls. It's weird. But if you like the Parks style, then by all means. What's Sam got there?
She also wears like little horse tassels on her shoes. So like, we can't trust the Parks on this.
True. Yeah. Rent-free cleanser. So is this for wigs? Yeah.
For cleaning wigs,
nice.
Right?
So let's transition into cleaning your wig. No shampoo and conditioner.
Inevitably, at the end of the con day, your wig is going to be a sweaty and disgusting mess.
Oh my God, yeah.
So you're going to want to clean and sanitize that wig at some point.
Doesn't have to be right after the con, but it should, because
Please.
otherwise you're gonna forget, and then the next
At
time you
some
wear it,
point,
it'll
they
be
start
like
to smell
Well,
really
and if
bad.
you don't wash
if you
it
don't.
and you don't brush it, it just mats together, and then you start losing more hair from it because it's so matted.
definitely. And I see the worst part of it in the back of the wig, the part that's always touching,
On the neck.
your skin.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it's gonna be the worst. So definitely, like, best practices is always to at least brush your wig after every wear.
And also clean the inside of the cap. Like even just cleaning the cap, like that rinse free, spraying the cap and letting it dry.
Mm-hmm. What is that with rinse cream? Where can you get it? Anywhere wigs are sold?
Anywhere wigs are sold. Yeah, I got this whole bottle for like $10, I think.
Nice.
Another thing that you can do to sanitize your wig that's really simple, especially after a con, it's not a substitute for washing it, but if you put your wig in a bag and then put that bag in the freezer for a couple of days, being in the cold will kill a lot
It'll kill the bacteria.
Right. It's
Nice.
going to kill a lot of the bacteria that's going to cause it to smell bad. So that's one thing that you can do immediately when you come home from a con is put your wig in the freezer. I would recommend putting it in its own bag. Please don't put it on a head and freak out everyone in your house.
Yeah. And also it's a good thing, like, if you buy a secondhand wig as well, that's another good way to like kill what, I mean, not saying that, when you buy stuff, there's, people have bugs in their hair, but whatever. It's just a great way to, make sure that stays clean. Yeah. But another, like, in general, cleaning wigs are not very difficult. You can always use fabric softener is a really good one to use. You can use shampoo. Like maybe even baby shampoo is okay. Something that's really mild. Conditioner.
Dry shampoos too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dry shampoo. So, and typically
that makes it less shiny too. Gives it more texture.
Yeah. Mane and Tail is a really good brand for wigs, like for shampoos and detanglers. Yeah, there you go. Mane and Tail.
Oh, but one thing with Mane and Tail is cover your floor because it will coat your floor and slippery. I learned the hard way.
Oh,
so have some sort of have some sort of old sheet from Goodwill or something.
Same thing with a silicone spray. Since the wig is made out of plastic fibers, you can use silicone spray to detangle it if you have like a really knotted section, but that will never leave whatever surface you do it on. So highly recommend you do that like outside.
Oh, really? Wow.
So
I know eventually
in the same spot over and over again.
Eventually Mane and Tail I think you can wash off, but yeah, I didn't find out.
Silicone spray is forever.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so definitely, I mean, and I think you can even use just a regular like hair detangler, can't you? Or some people put like a water fabric softener mix too as well. It also makes it smell nice too.
Yeah.
So usually what you do when you wash your wig is obviously take out all your bobby pins, anything that you have in it, and use your bathtub, or if it's, a small wig, you can use your sink. I have to put this in the bathtub. Fill it with water. I don't know, I put however much fabric softener I think I need. I don't know if there's a formula you guys know about.
I don't know.
And then kind of, just swish it around a little bit, let it soak a little bit, and then hang it to dry and let it dry completely. Hang it up in your shower or wherever you hang up like clothes to dry and let it dry completely. Again, this is another leave it for 24 hours before you get back to it. So never I'm going to wash a wig the night before and blow dry it like your hair. That's not going to happen, guys.
Nope.
Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to wash that wig.
Wigs take a long time to dry completely because they're way more dense typically than most people's natural hair. And not to mention they're made out of, unnatural materials.
Right.
So they take a long time to dry. I wait a minimum of 24 hours. Sometimes I even let it sit for longer.
Yeah. If you can help it, just leave it. And then that's when you're going to start brushing. Yay. So depending on, how thick your wig is, like Liz's wig, I won't take very long. It's a pretty small, short wig. My wig takes a lot longer. And I have to be a lot gentler with it. So that's, this wig is ginormous. It's so big. Look how big it is. So this is a lot of hair. I love it too. So this takes a lot of time. So then obviously when you restyle it, you're going to brush it all out, and now when we talk about brushing, be really gentle with your wigs. Higher end wigs are not going to fall out as much. But if it's just a cheaper Amazon wig, you're going to get a lot of fallout. So always start at the bottom. We always brush from the bottom and then work our way up. And it's always
with long hair. You guys know that one.
Yes. And I always keep clips on hand as well to section off the hair, just as you would with your own hair if you had a lot. So that's going to take a lot of patience depending on your wig.
Well, and obviously longer wigs are going to get tangled faster. And I know some wig companies like Arda sell, what they call silky wigs, which are a little bit smoother in fibers. So wigs that don't need heavy styling, that are long, like maybe you're doing, whatever, like Sailor Pluto or something. She has super long hair. And you're like, okay, well, it's long and straight. I don't really need to heavily style this. A silky wig is kind of a good option because they do tangle less, or they tend to tangle less. I used a silky wig for when I did like a long hair Rapunzel where the hair was just loose. And I found that I did have a lot less problems with tangling with it. It wasn't completely tangle free.
So that was a silky from Arda?
Yeah.
Because it looks great in the pictures. Like,
oh, thank
you. Yeah, I was like, how the heck did you keep it so detangly? Detangly?
Oh, it definitely still got tangled. That's the name.
Oh, yeah.
But
even regular hair will.
It was a lot less. Like I've had other long wigs, not quite that long, but other long wigs that like it's like the minute you take it out of the bag, it's already tangled. And you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so much to do.
Yeah, I have a long wig for Sailor Mars, and it's not too bad because when I store it with my hair, like with it tied up. Oh, here, like I'm gonna bring up a picture of your Rapunzel.
So like one of the trade-offs with getting a silky wig though is so Arda's classic fibers are much better for styling and spiking and getting a lot of volume. So I couldn't really get the bang swoop. That was sort of like the trade-off was like, okay, do I want the big huge bangs? Or do I want to not be fighting this wig for the whole photo shoot?
Right.
So I chose the latter. So that's like kind of the trade-off there is that I wasn't able to get that as big as maybe I wanted. But I feel like that's definitely the lesser of the two evils for a shoot like this because it was so windy that day.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, if this were like a regular like wig, it would have been like ruined immediately. It would have been so tangled.
I can see here it looks pretty good still.
So that is a silky wig, and it worked out really well. I think that it works pretty much as advertised.
Nice. That's a really good option too. There are some, and so when we talk about like brands of wigs, obviously even if you're a new cosplayer, you've probably heard of Arda. There are the higher end wigs with higher quality. Epic Cosplay, they have pretty good wigs, I think.
I have my Krista wig is from Epic Cosplay. I really like it.
Yeah, and there's like Wig is Fashion does a lot of like the lace fronts, but there you can actually, so if you don't have a budget for a higher end wig, like don't fret, like you can actually find some pretty decent ones on Amazon. Yes, there are going to be lower quality, like if you're paying $10 for a wig, so you're gonna get what you're gonna pay for. But there are some brands like Chrisma is a really good one. They are a little bit less than Arda and their lace fronts.
There's Scheherazade on Amazon, and that's my Yojimbo wig was from them.
Okay. Oh, really?
$5. Yeah.
That's such a pretty wig. How much was it?
45.
45?
So that Amazon is actually gotten like
color.
Yeah.
They've gotten really good.
Competitive.
Having wigs lately that are at competitive prices. I've bought a few Amazon wigs that I was really impressed with that were lace fronts that were way cheaper than an Arda lace front. I think that there is a trade-off though. So like if you get a wig from specifically a cosplay wig place like Arda Wigs or Epic Cosplay, they have standardized colors, which is really nice. So let's say you need to add wefts or like a clip-on to your wig, that if you order hot pink from Arda, it will be hot pink every single time.
That's
and it'll
true.
be the same color and it'll match. If you go with Wig is Fashion or Amazon, you never really know if the colors are going to match, even if you buy the same version, like two of the same wig. So that's kind of the benefit of going with Arda. And Arda wigs definitely, like, I feel like they are worth the cost, but they are expensive.
Yeah.
Like, and their prices have gone up this past year too. So like some of their lace fronts are real expensive.
Oh yeah.
So Amazon is a great option for lace front wigs that are a lot cheaper.
This one's a lace front, but it's been kind of like sitting back. That's a lace front. But I did make the mistake once of buying two different. Like this is early in my wig styling days. I bought two different wigs that I was going to splice together, and that was a mistake because they were different fibers, even, which was such a nightmare. Like trying to get them to like curl together, and then every time I had to restyle it, it was like the black part of the wig was fine, but the purple one just kept nodding. I was like, oh my god, never again am I ever doing this with Amazon wigs, or you know, that I can't guarantee they're gonna be the same style or fibers.
Right.
So yeah.
So that is the good thing about a place like Art or Epic Cosplay is like they do have that sort of standardized stuff, and it is like it is set in stone. You can trust the colors to match. You can trust that if I get you know, whatever style from Arta, like let's say I buy their Aowen style, like it's gonna be the same no matter what color I get. So that's kind of nice. I've never really had like an Arta wig or an Epic Cosplay wig that I was disappointed in. They've always been really good. So if you have the budget for it, absolutely go for it.
And definitely, I would suggest if you're doing a lot of styling too, you know, if you've got a big style, that you definitely should invest in, you know, a higher quality wig. The fibers are going to make a huge difference.
Arta has really good specialty wigs as well. Like I know they have some styles where the wefts are
like the undercut.
Well, yeah, they have like the undercut, but like I was thinking of, they have some styles where the wefts are actually sewn in backwards, so it's specifically made to defy gravity for spiking. So like, if you want to do like Sora from Kingdom Hearts, you would want to have a wig like that like isn't fighting you while you're spiking it.
Well, I can imagine doing that with and another thing with some of the cheaper Amazon wigs is obviously they're going to be a lot less dense. So if you wanted to style something up like that, you're going to see all the tracks. So unless you plan on sewing in more wefts, which is like if you're going to spend that time and money, you might as well just buy an Arta wig.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So we have a question here from Sarah. It says, I'm hesitant buying a wig from Amazon since a wig commission I did for someone who bought the wig off Amazon was a nightmare to work with. I mean, I think that you should probably be in control of that maybe. Because like I said, you know, they probably just bought the cheapest thing they could.
Yeah, if you're going to do commission, I never, ever, ever let the customer buy it for me. I tell them what I purchased, what I'm willing to work with, and they can either agree or disagree. And if they disagree, then they can find someone else to style it for them, because there are definitely times where people will buy like the $9 wig, which works for like something super simple that's going to be under a hat or a hood, or something that's supposed to be super short that isn't supposed to have any style at all. That's fine. But if you're doing a style, no, unless you want to get like 3 of those and have to start stitching them all together, like Jess said, it's not worth it. It's always best to make your client understand that you have boundaries, and that also helps with the healthy working relationship and makes them understand your expectations and theirs from the very beginning.
With the Amazon wigs, I think you just kind of have to be careful and look at the reviews. A lot of the people who buy the lace fronts on Amazon actually post pictures of themselves wearing it, and you can sort of tell from the picture what the quality is going to be.
I don't.
Like you can.
Yeah. So if the person's wig has pictures, right, example pictures, and it's really good, then I guess you can take that risk. But like, yeah.
Well, and with Amazon, most of them you can return too.
Yes. Well, that is a great thing.
And then return,
especially if you're Prime. Yeah. Right. So I don't buy any wigs on Amazon unless they have pictures and reviews. That's my one rule. And because especially if you see a lot of the same factory images, it's not always guaranteed that it's going to be the same wig. So definitely, like, that's the one rule I would tell everyone to live by, is if it doesn't have any if it doesn't have any pictures in the reviews, don't buy it. Yeah. So, and then, but if you have, you know, free returns, you know, maybe you can give it a shot. I don't think I've been too disappointed in my maybe last 2-3 years purchases of wigs on Amazon. So yeah, you just need to do your research. There's good ones out there, especially recently, like in the last 2 years. You know, all these lace fronts, Chrisma, and I know there's other brands. I just can't think of them.
Well, I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but this is sort of my experience. I feel like with wigs, you kind of get what you pay for. With the lace front wigs, like, unless you get lucky, but like a lace front wig is expensive, or it's more expensive than a hard front for a reason. It's because it, you know, blends into your hairline.
Takes more time.
You know, it's more labor to tie off. the hair and the lace. This wig that I'm wearing that I chopped up for Spider-Gwen, I think it was like $10 on AliExpress. And the reason I went with a $10 wig was because I was going to chop it up and make it look really bad.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get an expensive wig every time, but if you have like a big, huge style, you kind of do get what you pay for. You might, if you cheap out, you might be fighting that wig the whole time and it might not turn out the way that you want it to.
Yeah, it's not like clothes, you know, it's like, yeah, you can get the cheap fast fashion, but it's probably all made out of polyester or, you know, like some really crap material. It's going to fall apart. Like, it's the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure you guys have probably had experiences where you've gotten a cheap wig and you're like, oh, wow, this is a lot better than I was expecting. But I found that those are very rare experiences for me. I usually, if I get a $10 wig, it's usually what I think a $10 wig would look like.
Yeah, it's like my Ariel wig. It was a bit thin, but the fact that like the fibers were still really good after like 4 restyles, I was shocked. I was like, this $15 wig has gone way too long. Like, when's it gonna fall apart? So sometimes, yeah, you will find some good stuff in there, but if you do pay for a $10 wig and it's crap, I mean, it's crap. You will get lucky once in a while, but I think fibers have gotten better though in the last, you know, year or so. I've noticed they do tend to be a little bit like softer. Because I did have a wig. So when I did the Umi costume, I had a wig that I'd bought years ago that I was holding on for something else. And that felt cheap. Like it was like $15-20, but it felt like 15 or 20 bucks.
Well, you guys kind of know, if you like, imagine, for example, a wig from Party City. When you feel it, it almost feels kind of like tinsel in a way. Like, it doesn't feel good. And that's sort of, if you want like a nice quality wig, that's not what you're looking for with feel. It should feel soft. It shouldn't be too shiny. Like it should look, you know, in the pictures, it should look like it could be maybe someone's hair. Like there's a certain amount of like shininess that's okay, and then a certain amount of shininess, kind of like with really shiny fabric that doesn't look good on camera, like that
like
you
the Halloween fabric. Yeah.
Right.
Like
exactly.
I would say though, it's like don't buy the Halloween wigs. Like don't because there's Amazon wigs that are the same price that are so much better. Like I don't know why people still buy those. Like for cosplay. Like Halloween, a one-off, fine, whatever. You know, if you're one-off and you're gonna go and get drunk on Halloween, like that's fine. Like do whatever you want. But still, that wig is probably still cheaper on Amazon and it looks way better.
Right.
Yeah, so before we keep going, it's almost time. So guys, if you have any questions, just throw it in the chat and we will get to it. Is there anything else that we should cover on wigs? Wearing wigs? Oh, that's a lace front wig strap. So another thing about like wearing wigs, I know we talked about styling wigs, but wearing wigs is not always easy. I get shocked when girls are like, oh, you wear a wig cap? What's that? I just put the wig on and tuck my hair in. I'm like, what? What? That's why your wig falls off. I have never had a wig fall off. What? Ever. Yeah. Like if your hair is short enough, like Sam's, that makes sense. But she still wears that wig strap, don't you? To make it grip.
Yeah, and I've got like crazy bangs, and like even when my hair is short, I still have like all these bangs and little baby hairs, and this keeps it back. And then I put this over the top of it because I have like a really small head, so even the smallest wig cap. I mean, I've worn children's wigs. My Draculaura for Tucson Comic Con, that wig was a child's wig.
Oh, really?
I have a really small head, so this also helps keep everything on because my head's just so small, and my hair is so fine that the combs don't stay in my hair; they just comb right through it.
Yeah, so you definitely need something. Sam. So even if you have short hair, like you need to have a wig band like Sam does that would help keep it on. But if you got like, you know, regular length hair, my hair is actually the same length. It's just not as thick. I just braid it around my head, throw a wig cap on, and then I don't use pins for my wigs. Like even this, like I've worn it to kids' parties and kids have even tugged on it and like, no, it's not, it didn't come off. So
well, like there's wig tape, there's Ghost Bond. You could even use like Pros-Aide if you have to, but there's ways to glue fine hairs to your face or the cap so that you know it's going to stay.
Yeah, especially for lace fronts. I mean, you might need to use glue for lace fronts depending on the style and how your head is shaped.
Were there any other questions?
I think we're all good. So where can we find you all, Liz? on social
You
media?
can find me at Ambrose_Cosplay on, Ambrose Cosplay on Facebook, just how it's written in the corner, and then Ambrose_Cosplay on Instagram and TikTok. And that's all I have to say about that. Just TikTok just stands on its own. It's a sentence.
You've been posting quite a bit to TikTok.
A little bit.
Sam?
So ThermoCosplay.com. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Instructables, YouTube as ThermoCosplay, and it will just keep going. So yeah.
Oh, I always forget I have an Instructables too.
I have to ask Sam, what is that costume back there on your mannequin? On your left.
It's Nadia from the Arcana game.
Oh, it's so pretty. I like it.
I'm finding a wig, but I think I'm gonna have to buy 3 parts because her hair is.
That's a pretty costume.
Yeah,
I need
the neck piece because it's supposed to close, and they like the way it was made, it didn't close. So I have some modifications to make and add more gold to it. But yeah, it's really pretty. I'm wearing boobs. My real boobs aren't gonna do that.
Oh man. All right. And myself, I have a website, jinxcosplay.com, which I've never even like announced, but I have it. And then on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you can find me at the Jinx Cosplay. And then I also do have a Twitch that I haven't started up again yet, but that's JinxNet, which I don't know, maybe I'll change that one day. So, but again, if you guys are watching us from Twitch, which I don't think you are because there's one person watching, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. I think we have a Twitter at CosTalk Live. Maybe we'll do a TikTok. I signed up. I don't know.
I'll start posting more in multiple social media places now that I've got like more buffer account room, so I can start like pre-posting things.
Cool. Yeah, and when I get my life together, I'll be posting things.
You just did.
I know. Oh my God. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. You new viewers, old viewers, we love you all. Tell your friends. Next Friday is Sam.
Oh gosh. Air Bubbles Cosplay is our guest. She's from Seattle and amazing. And we're talking about using electronics and lights and all different things in costumes.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Well, that's something very enlightening.
Yeah, that'll be fun to learn some new stuff. So we hope to see you guys there. 6:30 Friday, June 5th. We'll see you there. Bye.